All right, welcome back. You're still watching Breakfast Daily. Now it's time for us to take you into some conversation on the Easter Orphan Project. Okay, this is one very important project for us here at Citi. It's something that we do every year at Easter. The essential meaning for us is we've been given so much. What can we do to also give back to others who really can't pay back, or except to say a thank you? There's nothing more that they can do, you know. But for us, it's a very important thing, you know. Someone has lost father, mother, and they have no one really to turn to. It's our opportunity to give back to them. Now, this year, we're going to go and do so many things for them, all right? All the way to Bolga, in Accra, different orphanages that we are related to and associate with, all right? But let's take you back to last year. Let's take a look at what happened, what we did, and then we'll come and then we'll talk about what's happening this year. Let's take a look.
If you're tired of the hurly-burly of city life, you'd find the journey alone very rewarding. Some 12 kilometers away from Suhum is a village called Troto in the eastern region. Tucked away in the greeneries of this village is a home for the homeless, a haven for a hopeless child from broken and abusive homes. Baptist School Complex and Home, Basco. Basco has over the years given a lifeline to otherwise hopeless children of unfortunate circumstances, an initiative born out of the Baptist missions in Koforidua and mainly supported by Citi FM and its listeners as well as private individuals. But how does an orphanage home that cares for some of society's most vulnerable out of the outpouring of the love of others continue to do so when across the world doors of churches, homes, factories and offices have been shut down due to COVID-19 lockdown? A drastic measure whose effect has left the most robust economies around the world hemorrhaging, with household incomes almost not forthcoming.
We have been surviving by the power of the grace of God, and also having good people we are working with. Some of them left because there was no money coming in, but others stood. Many of them waited till God turned things around for us.
Reverend Victor Ofori Amwa, who's the founder here, keeps a cheerful and grateful disposition. His positive outlook, however, does not hide how hard the orphanage has been hit. He likened the past year at the orphanage to the hunger and drought of 1983.
It also came to a point whereby, because we though we were having a balanced diet, it was not sufficient like we thought. So we were able to quickly depend on our vegetable farms that the school jumped in, and also go in for our plantains and other things. Okra and other things became our normal food, and it was very good. So despite the fact that we had a lot of impact, very negative impact of the COVID time, we also had some experience whereby some of the children like it when everybody was eating everything that we got. So we started eating, and it has been a very great blessing also unto us.
Reverend Amwa is however quick to express gratitude to the government and management of Citi FM for coming through for them in their darkest moments.
Despite all everything that was going on, the MD and his team broke through and came to meet us. It was just a shock to us. We never even thought of it. because we all knew what was going on and how people are even not happy to go out and even to give at that time. There wasn't any hope how to come out with the COVID, the PPE and other things was a problem. But it wasn't long when the Education Ministry called in the senior class who are going to write the exams and brought in all the COVID materials as well as food in every afternoon. So even children who were not orphans and they attend school here, they were able also to enjoy the food that was coming in, giving everybody hope till the exams times came. And I am happy to tell you all the students passed.
In my previous visit, I saw a number of volunteers from around the world serving and teaching the children here. Not a single soul was spotted this time. Why? You guessed right. COVID-19.
No volunteer for this year since the COVID. And then also the government is trying to streamline the inflow of these people coming in. So there are measures put down that has to be passed through before they welcome them, but they make sure that people come here, even teachers, even workers, have to be verified.
The administrator of Basco is himself an orphan child who cut his teeth here, earned a spot at the University of Ghana Business School, and returned to the home to serve.
To be very frank with you, one thing I have actually received from this place, the first and foremost is the educational aspect of it, because there are two things that when you come here, the director, Reverend Victor, is going to tell you. The first thing is God, and the second thing is your studies. He has given us that standard of education where, when we go out into the outside world, people from the cities and all that, you can't see any distinction between us and them. And so that is one thing that we always appreciate God for the fact that He has made us to know God and to always trust in Him for everything, and then to have a very good education, which is the backbone of every successful person.
He further paints a picture of how COVID-19 has rocked the boat of Basco, seeing some teachers leave as some had babies to nurse without much earnings to raise their own families.
It has actually affected the donations that were coming in because people were not ready to travel and come around. And so, in actual fact, the COVID has actually affected our donations so much that, we lost some of our teachers because the fund or the money to be used to pay them were not there. And so people were not ready to still go ahead and teach without being paid. And so in actual fact, it was really a difficult time for us.
Richard tells me the intake of girls has taken a drastic hit over the period. The advent of COVID-19 met a management decision to demolish a weak girls' dormitory for a new one, but that decision is now on ice.
That has been one of our major prayers over the years, praying to God that we'll be able to put up a new girls' dormitory. In actual fact, as you came last year, you realized that the old girls' dormitory was in bad state, and so in order to prevent any unforeseen incident, we had to demolish it and move the girls to the KG classroom, which is where they are currently sleeping now. And so we've been praying and looking forward to God that we'll be able to raise funds to put up a new dormitory, but as it stands now, there hasn't been any fund for that.
So how is that affecting anything?
Yeah, it's affecting the intake of girls in the school as we speak right now. And so, girls are also people that you have to make sure that they are catered for very well. And so it has really, really affected the intake of girls into the orphanage as we speak.
But do the children here know what the vision bearers go through to provide them meals every day? Even if they haven't heard of the economic impact of COVID-19 on the world and a humble orphanage like Basco, they surely should know something is wrong by the size of their meals and its regularity. How are you? What is your name?
Maria Inusa.
10-year-old Miriam Inusa says she loves Basco. Her reason? Very simple.
This place, they make us happy and they give us food to eat and they give us some place to eat.
What have they been giving you to eat?
Wachi, jollof, banku, beans, and rice with cotton wasting. They look for somewhere to sleep and they wake me and I bath. They give me soap, they give me bucket, sponge, towel, and everything that I want they give me.
So you don't miss your mom?
But I don't want to go.
She misses her mom, she tells me, but malnutrition and the frequent fights between her mother and her stepfather makes her wish never to visit.
I was staying with my mother.
Why?
In the morning I'll be drinking cocoa. In the afternoon I'll drink some
You drink what?
porridge.
And in the evening you eat what?
In the afternoon I'll eat porridge.
Porridge and corn.
Yes, in the evening you buy me rice.
So you like the food here?
Yes.
So you don't want to go home?
Yes. And they was having fight.
Who?
My mother and my uncle.
They were fighting?
Yes.
That's why they brought you here?
Yes.
When they were fighting, was it affecting you? Were you worried they were fighting? Were you crying? On top of being nourished, she gets to acquire critical knowledge to set her up for any role she so desires in society, just as Angela, the girl's prefect.
I like the way the teachers teach, the way they train us. I love that.
How do they train you?
Oh, if you need anything, sometimes I'm a girl, sometimes I need pad. If I go, they'll give up, maybe I need one, but they'll give me two. That's the reason why.
Is it just because you're the girl's prefect?
Oh, no. Maybe they will give us 2 packets. Everyone will go 2 or 3.
For these little ones, they are clearly innocent of what's going on, even though the exodus of teachers due to COVID-19 has affected teaching and learning for them. This 3-unit classroom block was built through the generosity of Citi FM listeners over the years to teach the children technical and vocational skills. But the lack of teachers has made achieving this objective a major headache for Reverend Amoa.
We need just to put in materials and also get trained teachers who will be able to take the children through. We really wanted to do this thing like after school tutorial classes. So it's not going to affect any normal classes of the children. But during after school, we give them maybe 2 hours either for games or for that, so that they will also learn some trade. So in case of any eventuality, these children will never be found on the street again or be called orphans who cannot be helped.
The staff and children of Basco are looking forward to a feast on Easter Monday. A couple of them shared their wish list with me. Miriam, for example, wants a tablet.
Tablets.
Tablet? And what?
And like learning books.
You need dress, sandals, the one we wear at home and the one we send it to church. Yes.
We want mattresses because some of us we play with our friends in the dormitory and food and other stuff. But mattress is the important one to me.
One request that touched my heart is the presence of well-wishers to share in their day and make them feel loved like other children.
Whenever you come here, you bring people for counseling, you bring people for grouping the people in children and women, girls and boys, and also tell them about the future, what they can do. All these things has really blessed this ministry, this orphanage, and has also given the children who pass out from here the courage and the boldness to do something for themselves and their nation.
On the wall of the girls' dormitory is this silent cry, a cry for love in this Easter season.
With the kind of contributions of listeners and viewers, bags of rice, drinks, disposable masks, sanitizers, and toiletries, among others, were also presented to the Baptist School Complex and home in the Eastern region.
It's been a really, really difficult year, and we acknowledge that fact. But of course, if it's Easter time, Citi cannot ignore Basco, because wherever there's Basco, there's Citi. Yes, and so this year, on behalf of the Citi FM Foundation, viewers of Citi TV, listeners of Citi FM, we're making this donation to the Basco, or to Basco, and we're saying that you're not forgotten. Apart from all this, we also want to put together your new girls' dormitory.
On behalf of Citi TV, Citi FM, we also add this to all that we have donated to the school. We know that the upkeep of the school, the running of the school, day-to-day activities will also need money. So we add this 10,000, which is coming from our donors, to what we have already done. Thank you very much.
Okay. So very shortly, I want to say a very big thank you. In actual fact, we lost most of our teachers because of the COVID, and we're not able to pay them. And so a lot of them has to go away. And so with this money coming in, I'm sure that it will be a great support to us, pay our workers in order to sustain them to continue help Basco.
Authorities of the school, which has been a constant beneficiary of the annual project, could not hide their excitement as they showed appreciation to Citi FM in grand style.
From the management of Basco, the entire student body, we want to dedicate this stone, just as our father said earlier. And it reads, from Basco, thanks to all our donors and supporters. Praise the Lord God Almighty for our donors, supporters, and all benevolent givers to this lovely home of ours. May you enjoy the larger portion of God's blessings. Amen. And so we dedicate this to Citi FM and to Citi TV for the wonderful work you do to keep us running in Basco.
Kofi is an old student of the Baptist School Complex. He's now a teacher. He spoke to Citi News about his memories of the home and how the annual Citi FM donation has helped him.
Seeing Citi FM coming to Basco every Easter Monday is just a recollection of those days, and where I know that for all this year, Citi FM has impacted our lives. And like I've always said, being a beneficiary of this good work Citi FM is doing is one of the greatest things I will always talk about and to always thank God for.
Okay, so what is the significance of this donation to you? I mean, you have benefited from it, apart from the fact that there was joy in it and all of that. What was the benefit for you?
Yeah, in actual fact, this donation means so much to us in the sense that, you know, Basco has been situated in a place where not so many people would like to come, and it's been difficult to find a place like this. And so one thing I might say is that with Citi FM advertisement and announcement that is made proud to the Easter Monday visitation to Basco, it really opens door to us, where a lot of people hear about us and come over to donate even after Citi FM has come and are gone. I must also say that the donation Citi FM brings is able to take us as long as we can until they come again.
Now, I'd like to take a moment to just mention to you about the Citi FM Foundation. Now, this is a foundation that champions a lot of initiatives throughout the year. We have City Opportunity Project on education. That is COPE. We have our Easter Orphan Project. We have our Help a Christmas Child Project, and several, initiatives in between throughout the year. Now, this year we were here in Troto, and we came to spend time with all the kids of the Baptist School Complex and Orphanage. And before we left, we heard that there was a pressing need to have a place for the female boarders to lay their heads. And we could not have heard this and just returned back to Accra and went back to bed, basically, So when we went back, we had a conversation with the team and shared the important information with our listeners and our viewers, and they responded massively. And so what we actually see behind us today is a result of people digging deep, people hearing the story of Basco and realizing that they are the future of Ghana's education.
The kind gesture by the Citi FM Foundation can be backdated to April 5, 2021, when the company, as part of its Easter Orphan project, donated stationery, cash, food items, amongst others, to the Baptist School Complex and Orphanage, Basco. During the event, management of Basco outlined that the lack of a girls' dormitory was hampering its work. After 4 months of rigorous work, the over 30-bed girls' dormitory has been completed.
We've been able to build 3 dormitories that can take over 30 girls and 2 ensuite bedrooms for 2 teachers. They asked for 1. We managed to do 2, so the house mistress and assistant can each have a room which has its own bathroom and everything. 9 showers and 6 toilets later. I think that the girls at Basco can have a good place to live and work and think and enjoy. One of the things you also notice in this area is electricity and the challenges they have. So this building is self-sustaining when it comes to power. There is solar that produces power for the facility.
Rockstars Roofing Company, a private entity that supported the project by roofing the building, promised to partner the foundation in other projects.
We are very glad we're part of this. Seriously, because yes, the finishing is looking so, beautiful, and we are happy to have come on board fully to help this project. It's something we haven't regretted. Going forward, we believe that we are going to have this partnership with Citi FM and Citi TV to do more good to the society, because it's good to give back to the society.
It was a joyous moment for the director of the orphanage, Reverend Victor Furiamoa, whose dream of housing female orphans has materialized.
We give praise unto God for helping us to get this facility. We also thank our donors, Citi FM Foundation, and its charitable listeners for what they have done unto this orphanage. We also bless the name of the Lord for all the contributors, all those who contributed to the welfare of this project.
So on behalf of the Managing Director, management, the staff of Citi FM, Citi TV, and on behalf of Rockstars, and on behalf of our listeners and our viewers, we declare this place duly commissioned.
Support us in cash and in kind with bags of rice, gari, beans, maize, sugar, milk, biscuits, drinks, detergent, toiletries, disinfectants, and so on to the front desk of Citi FM and Citi TV behind the Arabaka police station.
And send your cash donations to the mobile money number 0550-900-006.
Call 0302-224-959 for further information.
So there you have it, a beautiful documentary on the Easter Orphan Project and the work that Citi FM, Citi TV, and of course with the help of you, our viewers and our listeners, have been doing at the Baptist School Complex at Trotor near Suhum. And you know what, we'll come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll tell you what we're doing today on Easter Monday 2022 when we return from this break. Welcome back. You're still watching Breakfast Daily, of course, on your station of choice, Citi TV. And the show is very interactive. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily. And if you need to send us a WhatsApp message, the number, of course, is on your screen. Now, we've been talking about the Easter Orphan Project, a campaign, an endeavor that Citi FM about 17, 18 years ago embarked upon. And if you are just joining us, you missed the opportunity to see a documentary which was done by our colleague Caleb Kuda. And really, he chronicled what happened last year throughout the COVID period, what Basco was having to deal with as an institution, as an orphanage, how they overcame some of those challenges, and how Citi FM, Citi TV stepped in within the period of COVID to build a 30-bed girls' dormitory to sort of replace the facility that was dilapidated so that the girls at the facility at the Baptist School Complex could have a decent place to sleep, to reside, to take their showers. I mean, they're girls, so you know all the things that come with that, right? Now, this year, we've built this 30-bed facility. I mean, there are furnishings going on. There's always more to do, you know, and this was a year ago. So, you know, we probably will even need to do more painting and whatnot. You know how maintenance goes. But this year, today, as our colleagues, you know, make their way, some of them are already at Basco Suhum. Hopefully we get to talk to them before the show ends. As they make their way there, as they get there, the plan today is really to go and assess and, you know, take some measurements, look at some of the things that we need to do. And there are 4 key areas, David, that we want to focus on this year and beyond. The first thing is a borehole. Now, you know that we've been having challenges with water, potable water, not just where they are, but generally it's a problem that we're facing in Ghana, right? Even in the city, I've had to buy water in my home for some time now. You know, they did have a borehole, but it quickly deteriorated, mainly because members of the community, so of Trotor and the surrounding 12-kilometer radius, were coming to Basco to still fetch water from their borehole. So I mean, you got to a point, you know how boreholes are. If you overuse it or you put more pressure on it than was initially intended, you end up getting clay and dirt. So we're digging 2 new boreholes for Basco, and then 1 for the community, so that we don't have people trooping in to come and, you know, sort of sponge on what has been set up for the children there, for the young people at Basco. Secondly, we need to fence or wall the facility. There was some kind of walling at some point, but, you know, it's no longer so. You've seen the imagery. There's a lot of vegetation around it, but
it's in the heart of a forest.
You get it. But that forest is also developing. So now they're exposed, and that's not good for young people. We would not, I don't think, excuse me, say, even the person who would live in the tiniest of a boat would not want to be exposed that way. Okay, and you're talking about young children, many of them, they need to be safe. So we need to fence or wall the facility. That's the second thing. Thirdly, electricity is an issue. Now, we've been having lots of conversations on our network, both on radio and here on TV, about sustainable communities, sustainable cities and whatnot. So we believe that Basco can be a shining example in their community, in the city, if we set up a solar system. So solar-powered electricity system for Basco. And that's the third thing we're embarking upon. And lastly, but definitely not the least, you heard the founder and the gentleman who runs the place, I mean, Reverend, talking about the fact that, you know, they were tilling their own farmlands, and, you know, now that's not so possible. And don't forget that we do have laws against child labor and what's not, and Basco has always tried to do things the right way. In fact, they have. Reason why Citi FM, Citi TV, and our listeners and viewers keep going back there, because when we go there, when we take money, we take any kind of items, we see what they do with it. It's not a case of some places, and that's the fear of a lot of people. If I go and give to an orphanage, I go and give to an institution that's supposed to be taking care of children, giving them a better livelihood, people will do all sorts of things with the money, with the items that are taken. There's not like that with Basco. And so one of the things that they also sort of try to stop doing is engaging the children, the students, in tilling the farmlands, because these days that is very clearly categorized as child labor. But what does that mean? Are they going to starve? Are we going to be sending trucks of food stuff there every time when they have the lands that can be tilled? What it means is that we need to employ people, or help them to employ people, hands that can, sort of till the land. The students, yes, can help learn, gardening and farming and whatnot, but the bulk of the work needs to be done by qualified people who are going to be employed. And that, of course, is money, resources. And in the past, they've done peppers, they've done yam, they've done plantain, things that to feed really themselves over there. There's a lot of subsistence farming going on there, and we're looking to support that as well. And of course, if you're talking about farming, not just the people to man and till the land, the fertilizer conversations, pesticides, all those things, and you need to buy quality ones, because you don't want the students or the children to get sick or to be exposed to any chemicals that will affect their health. So these are the 4 main projects we're embarking on today. The donations that have come through, they are going towards these projects. So again, the first one, boreholes, 3, 2 for Basco, 1 for the community, so that the community members no longer have to troop over to Basco and sort of worry them, quote unquote. Okay. 2, walling or fencing Basco, fencing the property, so that the children and their caretakers are safe. The world is not safe anymore.
Exactly.
Okay. Thirdly, a solar system, solar-powered electrical system. That's the third thing. And lastly, making sure that the farmlands are tilled, and we have people to do that professionally and properly, so that at least they can also get something from those lands that they have around them.
No, I think that, looking at the different projects that we are doing, I'm thinking about the solar one. It's particularly important because, when we talk about learning, learning happens at different times, and sometimes in the evenings you need, especially the older children, to be able to, continue learning. And so if you don't have regular power, that becomes a challenge. It becomes a problem, So I think it's very important. And then, of course, we're in a modern era of technology. With technology, you need to be able to power your equipment, either by battery powering or by direct electricity. Whatever way you go about it, you need power, right? So it's very important for us to be able to give them something that is reliable, something that's consistent, and they can have that every day.
And David, that's a very good point. A lot of the time when we talk about orphans or people who are underprivileged, by the way, through no fault of their own.
Yes, exactly.
There's something that I keep saying, that orphans are products of circumstances.
Yes.
You get that.
Yes.
Nobody is born and then in their mind at birth, oh yeah, I'm going to be an orphan next year. That's not how it happens. And let's also broaden the sense. In the English language, let me take you to school small. In the English language, when you do look up the word orphan or the term orphan in the English dictionary, it will tell you that it is a child.
Yes.
More specifically under the age of 18 years of age, who has lost both their parents to death. Okay, but broadly speaking, if as an adult you have lost both of your parents, you can be called an orphan. And then going back to the children's demographic, a child who maybe their parents just don't want to parent and have disappeared or absconded, a child who is in an abusive home. And so for that matter,
has to be
exactly taken out of the dangerous or harmful environment. And that means that the parents or the guardians in that situation are not fit to be called their parents. That child is also orphaned and needs to be sent somewhere. We haven't reached a point in Ghana where we're doing like a mainstream. I know sometime ago, I think sometime last year, we had social welfare and other authorities come right here on Breakfast Daily and talk about how we're trying to implement the foster care system. So you have children being put in homes so that they have a more realistic living situation and can assimilate into society. But until then, places like Basco are the real deal. They are solving a challenge that quick. You and I cannot. I don't have the space in my home to host 200
students,
children and students, and hire teachers to teach them there and feed all of them every day. So if a human being has had a vision to give back to the society in this way, dedicate his life, her life, to grooming young people who don't have anywhere to go, support that. And you spoke about the electricity thing. Being in an orphanage doesn't mean that, and that's why even when we're doing our promotions and encouraging the public to join us on our quest, we don't say bring your old clothes. No. We want you to bring things that you would let your children wear. Things that I want to see my daughter and my son wear. Not things that are in tatters. You know, we want the food that we would eat. If you wouldn't eat rice that's crawling with weevils, why would you want to send that to orphans? In fact, that's not even a blessing. That comes with curses. You know. So in the same vein, this thing you speak about electricity, we are not just educating them the bare minimum. So I speak some broken English and then walk around the place and then, go and hustle. We want to support an institution that can groom children in a way that they are also digitally savvy.
Absolutely.
They understand that electricity has become a core part of somebody will say, but they can use candles. They can use bobo, but no, we are in the 21st century.
It's not good enough.
It's not. And if we are talking about 200 plus young people, right, they must be globally competitive. They must be exposed to the things that will make them useful to society in 2022 and beyond. And so they deserve electricity. They deserve potable water.
100%.
If not for anything, just for the fact that they are human beings. And so this is why we are embarking on these. And again, I'll repeat them. Constructing boreholes, both for Basco and the community, so that the community doesn't come and, sort of sponge on what they have at Basco. Fencing, the security, wall, border, fence, facility somehow to keep the children and those who take care of them safe. Thirdly, again, a solar-powered electricity system. And who knows, this could become the hub where people go and learn how solar is done in Ghana. If it's done well, and your funds will go towards that, your efforts will go towards that, where now government of Ghana says, let's go and see how it's been done at Basco. Because Citi TV, Citi FM, and their listeners and viewers funded this thing, and it's working. Let's see how we can replicate it in our SHSs across the country, in our communities across the country that are still battling with electricity problems. And God knows we have electricity problems in this country, And then very lastly, but of course, again, not the least, the tilling of their farmlands. Our champion said, Operation Feed Yourself. At a point, we also came back to that, you know. If you have land around you and you can do some kind of small subsistence farming, gardening, growing peppers, tomatoes, garden eggs, yam, cassava. These are things, kontomire. These are things that don't take much to man. Some maize in the corner. That maize you can now harvest, mill or dry mill, turn it into your mori or your corn dough or whatever for your banku. You're going to make it, look, it's a whole value chain right there. And that will also allow them, this is also why we're even asking for bags of maize. Imagine if they were growing their own maize, and we just supplement that. That takes a huge cost burden because food is expensive. Our food basket in Ghana is expensive. Food is expensive, so it takes a huge cost burden off of Basco and those who are running it. And now they can focus on the education of the children. Maybe now allow them to go on excursions to get some more exposure, enhance their learning, enhance their educational experience. So this is the big picture. Okay, it's not just bring money thing and then you know, bring
because
food,
it's very
and dump
easy.
it there. That's not
it's
the
very
plan.
easy in our traditional practice of orphanage management to just, you know, dump some children in a home somewhere, some four walls somewhere, and just beg for food to give to them, and as long as you've eaten, you're good, okay. You know, and that's it, right? Yeah, don't complain. You know, you're lucky to have it like this. You know, no, that's not what we're doing at all. You know, I mean, my thoughts immediately go to somebody like Richard Kofi, the one who was a student, has become an administrator of the school, right? I mean, for me,
and what he did in between,
all of that, you know,
this is a you know, and I'm not surprised that we're talking about tilling farmland because he's a student of agriculture, graduate of agriculture, and has done other things. It's not like he didn't have a job and he went back. He's made a choice
to go back. Yeah, and impact the place that brought him this opportunity to be this person in life, you know. And I think that it's so important because this is what we are looking to do. That, can you imagine 200 students, 200 orphans in this community, right, in Basco? All of these people in the next 15 years are going to be adults, responsible adults, properly educated, roundly educated, and fit, not just to be in society, but to lead in society.
Exactly.
I mean, what better story than this, you know, and to have your money go to such a cause. I mean, I think it's fantastic.
And think of it this way, I mean, if it's over 200, even if it's at least 200, how many seats in Parliament do we have?
Well, think about it.
Imagine if each of these children became, you know, a legislator. You know, or took up some leadership position with what they've gone through.
And for me, this is what it's about, really.
With what they've gone through, do you think that they will not give, and especially if they're supported the way they need to be supported, they will invest in our social services, our social welfare, the systems that are supposed to make sure that the children we see on the streets are not there, but are at institutions like Basco. You know.
So we've spoken about the importance of the electricity and the impact of that. Also about the the fact that, you know, in terms of the education that they are getting, it's an all-rounded education. But this is just from the facilities that we're providing for them to make sure that these things can happen. I just want to talk a little bit about security. Okay, the importance of security. Now, remember that here's this Basco in 1999, as it was set up. All right, there were only 4 kids. This is now an entire community of 200 people. They live within a larger community. All right, now they are not necessarily exposed to the larger community directly because it's in a forest.
It's a bit of a distance.
It's a bit of a distance. But like Apioko said earlier on, the forest is also being encroached. People are moving into spaces and setting up hamlets and little, you know, villages in there. So before you realize, the school has been encroached on. Girls are exposed.
Exactly.
And for me, it's one of the biggest things. I mean, you can't have girls in a beautiful girls' dormitory, but there's complete exposure. Who walks in onto the property at night? You don't have any security there.
And
right?
Dave, not to catch you, let's not forget that there are people who live amongst us who just don't respect people like orphans because they feel that, so you should feel privileged to even have a place to sleep.
It's
and there are, unfortunately, perpetrators, pedophiles, sex offenders who believe that you should feel privileged for someone like me to touch you. And you see, I mean,
and in our society, the way, because you know, people just feel entitled to other people's bodies and other people's property and other people's everything.
And then here we are, you know, we are soliciting support and help for these young people and those who have the vision to support them.
Yeah.
But we're also exposing them in a way.
Yeah.
Sitting here on TV, sitting on radio, asking well-meaning Ghanaians to bring money and items that there are some people who, unfortunately, who may live in their vicinity have never even been able to lay their hands on.
Exactly.
And that alone exposes them. Yes.
Okay, so you are receiving all of these things. Okay, so we are coming.
Come collect some.
Yeah.
So security is very important.
Very, very important.
Very, very important.
Yeah, very important. I mean, the place needs to be fenced properly, high walls, and, guarded, really, I mean, thankfully, thus far, they haven't had any major incidents, of harm coming to anybody, but we can't do like we do as Ghanaians and we wait till there's trouble before we act. No, as soon as it occurs to you that this situation we're heading in this direction and there could be potential trouble, that idea alone is the prompting to act.
Exactly.
Act before the trouble comes.
Exactly. And David, I mean, even if you live in a kiosk,
yeah,
I mean, Taflacha, let me say it in Ghana, even if you live in a kiosk, you buy a padlock to lock your little kiosk door.
Yep.
It's one of the first things you think about.
Yeah.
You don't just leave it ajar when you're sleeping, and it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So how much more these young, vulnerable people, and of course those who are there with them, taking care of them. And then also just to touch a little bit on the education bit as well, because yes, these are the 4 things we want to focus on, but I want to say that Basco is not just an orphanage. I mean, we call it the Baptist School Complex and Orphanage. Okay, it's not just an orphanage. It's an educational institution where young minds are being honed, molded, educated, schooled. So there are teachers who are teaching. They have a need for textbooks. They have a need for any kind of educational material that you would like them to have. I mean, now in the educational space, even in Ghana, we are no longer talking about students, we're talking about learners.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about teachers, we're talking about facilitators. So the difference is that a learner is not just being fed things.
Yeah.
A learner is being guided, facilitated to take responsibility for their own learning so that they can acquire knowledge and apply it later on, not just troop or pass and forget.
Yeah.
But a system like that requires a certain level of resources, not just monetary, but even the quality of facilitation of teachers who will be there, employed there. And yes, there are good people who may get up and say, I'm doing this from my heart. But they may also have families to feed. They need to be paid. So there's that angle too, that even beyond these 4 key projects, and then of course we've asked for milk, rice, sugar, detergent, all the things that you need to run a home. Because it is a home.
It's a home.
It's not just an institution, it's a home. All those things. But David, I believe our colleague Caleb Kuda is there at Basco. And so it's time to speak to him and see what the team is up to. Hi, Caleb.
Hello, Bianca.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Happy holidays to you all in the studio and to our viewers across the world.
You look like you're having a holiday. We are
like
working.
You're having a blast.
It's the weather here is actually really beautiful. It looks like it's going to rain very soon, and the journey itself was quite relaxing because driving through that greenery and all the bush, getting here finally, it's been relaxing so far. Yeah, so it looks good.
All right. So talk to us about what's happening today at Basco.
Fantastic. So, Kwaku, as you know, as we've always done every Easter Monday, in the last 2 years, because of COVID, we've just sent a few, we didn't do a lot of fanfare with respect to the Easter Fund projects. We just sent some donations and cash. But like as we always do in the past, we come here in our numbers and we donate food items, accessories, and then we actually feast the orphans who are here, as well as some other orphanages. We're here again, and what is beautiful is that we've had a new facility that has been built, a 40-bed dormitory for the girls who are here at the Baptist School complex, and that's what is happening now. There are going to be some boreholes that will be drilled as well. This looks like one of the sites where it will be done, and then 2 of them will be built here. One will be done in the community here at Troto in Suhum, and then if you turn to this side in front of the Semones Hall, you see the assorted items that have been brought here that will be donated to the orphanage as well. So there's going to be a lot of exciting activities as well. You have the staff of Citi TV, Citi FM. They are here with some friends who will also be joining us to spend time with the orphans and make them happy, essentially. There'll be some mentorship sessions as well to inspire the orphans here and give them hope. There is more to life. So that's what we've been doing over the years, and we're here to do same once again. This 40-bed girls' dormitory looks really beautiful, because the last time I was here to do a documentary on the girls' dormitory, it was made of mud. It was just cemented, made of mud, and it looked really small when we went in there. It didn't look too comfortable, but this looks like some nice apartment, you know. It's a very, very lovely one with the Citi FM Foundation on there. It's a very happy moment out here, and I can imagine that the kids can't wait to get into all the exciting moments that we're about to have with them.
Okay, so Caleb, this year, I mean, of course, we haven't been able to do this in the past 2 years because of COVID, but this year, we're going back to our feast you mentioned. So, has the food arrived yet? You know, can you smell anything nice?
There'll be lots of it. We came with a lot of that, so yes, it'll be very exciting. I am actually looking forward to that moment where we'll feast the children. For now, I think Samens and the director, they are going to enter the rooms and inspect it, and so the numbers are massing up soon under the canopies. The kids are getting ready, and then we are getting ourselves acclimatized to the environment. The event will kickstart very shortly. But for now, this is the ambience. It looks very interesting.
It looks interesting and serene. And I mean, at least the children that I see, they look happy.
Yes, they are. I mean, the East Orphan project, what happens really is that people come from the communities to join us. Parents, children, even those who are not orphans, is very often a feast for the whole community. So I'm expecting more of them to come as the day goes by, and we will have a good time today here at Basco. So yeah, it's a good feeling. We're coming to touch lives and really change lives, essentially, as we've been doing over the years.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Caleb. I'm sure you guys are going to have a blast today.
Definitely.
Like you said, the weather looks really, really nice and inviting. It's not like scorching sunny day. This one is really nice and overcast. So you guys are going to really have a good time.
Hopefully we can join you. I mean, after the show, hopefully we can come through and be a part of the festivities.
Yes, you should. It's a 2-hour journey, so you can't be here in good time.
Okay, well, some of us, it's not a holiday, so we'll see. We'll see how it works.
Thank you,
Well,
Caleb.
enjoy the party. You guys have fun.
I will.
And I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Alrighty.
Definitely, Kweku.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so that's a colleague, Caleb Kuda, bringing up some live updates from Basco, the Baptist School Orphanage, Baptist School Complex and Orphanage there in Troto.
Yes, and David, I know you have a list of companies who have donated to us, but before you even get into that, I just want to say that apart from Basco, so I mean we can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
But we do have partners, regional correspondents who represent us well across the country. And today, even though the bulk of us are at Basco, we do have an orphanage in Kumasi that we've sent items to, nicely boxed. There's money, everything. There'll be some activity there as well, and I'm sure you get those updates. And then also at the Mamaladi orphanage in Bolga as well, up north, And there are a few others that we've also sent a few things to, but these are the 3 main orphanages today. So in Kumasi, Accra, and Bolga that we are supporting and making sure that the responsibility of today is done, so that we don't have to go and meet it somewhere tomorrow.
Exactly. No, that quote of the day, I just love it. I just love it so much.
Abraham Lincoln was brilliant. So, from all accounts.
So I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, supporters, those who have come through when we asked. There are so many of you as individuals who have sent Momo and all of that. We really, really appreciate you, both Citi TV viewers and Citi FM listeners. These are some of the companies that brought bulk items as well to support. So Daily Foods Limited has brought us some food items. We have Piccadilly biscuits bringing a donation through. We have Promasador donating also to the, of course you know Promasador, Cowbell, Onga, and all those products. Gear Shift Academy also brought in some products. It was a donation. They made a massive cash donation of 10,000 Ghana cedis.
And Gear Shift is training a lot of the bikers that we're seeing.
I really appreciate what Gear Shift is doing. I really appreciate what Gear Shift is doing, because you see, when you have an official facility that does training, that means that you have safe bikers out there, reducing the number of accidents on our roads, so I think it's important. Access Bank also came through. Thank you very much. Not only with money, but also 90 bags of rice, 90 gallons of oil, and several cartons of milk as well. You also have Coca-Cola coming through. Coca-Cola also brought lots of cases of assorted Coca-Cola drinks and so on.
So the party we're having at Basco today, a lot of it, funded by Coca-Cola.
And NS Chemist also came through, and of course NS Chemist, they provided lots of medication and hygiene, first aid items, and all of that.
And I thought that was very thoughtful of them, because children tend to pick up little colds here and there, little, they fall a lot.
I think it's so important.
Very important. And I thought it was very thoughtful of them. And they didn't just bring some small boxes, they brought cases and cases and cases of medicine. We're able to send some to Kumasi and Bolga as well.
No, it's fantastic. So we want to say a big thank you to all of you for doing this. And we will keep coming back. After today's event, we'll show you all the footage of everything that happened and transpired there. But we will keep coming back every day, because I think that for us, it's our responsibility to stand in the gap, between the orphans and those who have the ability to donate, and we will stand in that gap. And we are not shy to come and beg.
No, not at all.
We are not shy to come and beg.
Begging for a good cause.
Begging for a good cause. There's no shame in begging for a good cause, So we will come again and again and again. But this year, we've told you what we're going to do. There are 4 key items that are on our minds, and we're going to make sure that it happens. Well, let's take a short break. Breakfast Daily will continue with more programming.